Well, Leonard, first of all, I'd like to welcome you to our offices here. You've never been a stranger out here, and you've been welcome here for years now that we've dealt with each other. Started with the company back in 2009, and prior to that, I had worked for AWG for some years back at the turn of the millennium, from 97 to 2002. So I have a little bit different perspective than some of the meat directors would have. I've seen both sides of the operation. It's helped make me a better person as far as knowing how you guys operate on your side. And of course, I've been based with retail most of my career. But there's been a lot of positive changes in the last 12 months, particularly the last 6-7 months. And I think it's for the better for both of us. Been a lot more receptiveness by AWG to purchase things, especially for our company that we have had to get from other places. The number one thing was Sicarni beef. You guys have been good about bringing that in. I know a lot of retailers don't use that, but we use it as an opportunity to provide a value to the customer that is needing that, and it's been very successful for us. One of the things about AWG that I really like is that they've worked through Sicarni to bring in varieties and different primals that we've never been able to get before anywhere else. One of the other things that I think has been very important for our company is being able to bring in, as I said, not only Sicarni, but other items. You're working currently to bring in some of the Williams products that we do extremely well with, and on and on and on. And one of the things that I was told that has stuck with me since 1997, when I first started with AWG, is the director of not human resources, but member services, told me at that time, as he was letting me off at the airport, that there is nothing more important than relationships in our business. And he was speaking from the wholesale side, but it's also true from the retail side too, whether we're dealing with our customers or whether we're dealing with you and we are your customer. Relationships are very important. Honesty, being straightforward sometimes, and telling things like they really are and not what somebody wants to hear. It's very, very important to retailers in particular that we have a wholesaler that is willing to work with us to provide the needs that we have. I understand it's a two-way street. You can't have a retailer that's wanting to purchase outside and be able to stay in business and maximize your sales no more than we can have a wholesaler that's not willing to go to bat for us when we need it. So it's very, very important to us. I think since changes have been made, we've been able to increase our sales. I don't know if you want to talk about the results that you've gotten for period 5, but I know that our sales are tremendously up with AWG, and we intended to keep it that way. But right now the guys in the stores, they seem to be happy with the service level. And as with any operation though, you're going to have some pluses and minuses. You're going to have some things that you always, I wouldn't necessarily call them a minus, but something we need to work on to improve, just like we have same opportunities. The thing that I think has improved between myself and AWG is the communication level and the willingness to go to bat, as I said before. But communication is very, very important. You have to know our needs before you can fulfill them. And we have to know what the parameters are for AWG too, as far as being able to get those products in. Some of the things though I think that I would like to see us work on together is to improve that communication, take it a step further. One of the things I would like to see us happen possibly quarterly or at a food show is the meat directors that are supplied by AWG Nashville maybe can get together. Not a BS session, but something where we can bring legitimate concerns. You guys can introduce new programs that you might have, needs that AWG has, and it will help us as a group kind of know where everybody else stands. I do not envy being in the position of AWG and having to satisfy a bunch of independent retailers. Everybody's got their own ideas. Everybody's successful in their own ways, we'd hope. And so you're coming from different angles, different perspectives. That's why I think as a group, it would help AWG to understand some of their members better. Another thing that's an opportunity for us that could help us be better is the speed at which we get new items in meat to the stores. A lot of times we go to the Walmarts of the world or one of our other local competitors, and new items are in their stores and we're still waiting on them. And it kind of gives us a disadvantage. I know you can't be first to the market all the time, but if we can be, some of our buyers could be a little more proactive in trying to get those items in. A lot is behind the scenes there, I know. You only have so many slots, and so I know you're limited to a degree. And then the last thing, and the only last thing, is if there's a way that we could protect pre-books. And I know the purpose of pre-books is to make sure the buyer has a chance to order enough product, 3 weeks out. But when it comes time and it's in our ad, sometimes we might get shorted, and we have to explain to our customers, that we don't have that item. We'll give them a rain check gladly, and AWG will come through and get the product to us, but we need it, when we need it. But I think the sales are a direct reflection on the people that work at AWG, from the president on down. And my relationship with AWG has improved greatly. It never was bad, but it's gotten to the point now where we feel like we're working together as a team. And that's very, very important to myself and to my fellow directors that we work in that method, in that manner.
Ward, you've been a long-time loyal member with AWG. You've been a member since 2004. How has the AWG co-op model been beneficial to you over the years?
Well, I would say the first thing is the co-op model in general, the ownership that the retailers have of the program. It was different for us because we had not been in a co-op model before, and it took us a few years to actually understand and fully buy into what it meant to us. When the people and personnel at AWG said that they work for us, we heard that, but over time we actually saw the fruits of that and became to understand that truly was the way it worked. And I would say the best thing that's worked is, going throughout the year, you work hard, you build sales, you put in programs that you feel like are working, and at the end of the year there's a significant patronage waiting on us that distributes the profits back to us, and it's very meaningful from a financial standpoint. It's something that's been probably the most impressive contributor to our operation, besides just day in, day out programs that we're able to participate in.
What programs are the most critical to your success?
The one that stands out the most is the private label program. It's the one that we were able to latch onto and take the All Save and the Best Choice and use those to actually enhance what we were doing at store level. And when we actually figured out how to best take advantage of them, we were able to see a significant increase in sales per customer and build our overall total sales with the program. We recognized that it was an opportunity to differentiate ourselves not only from our independent competition but also from the major chains such as Walmart and some of them that use private label but don't necessarily use it in the way that we had an opportunity to. So we were able to take some of the patronage money and invest it into our merchandising and pricing, particularly in Always Save, and use that as a lead to get people in the stores. We basically took 9 items, 9 core items back years ago, and sold the managers on how we could take those and use those as a model to build sales and make them beneficial to the operation of the store, and it worked. And it's just, we've never looked back. Our penetration of case sales for the private label has continued to be strong. We had a nice run up when we first got on it, and then we've sustained that model ever since. And we're continuing to find new ways to use it to try to benefit us. And fortunately, our major competition claims to be more of brand name operation, and that's how they seem to price their private label along those lines too. So it continues to give us one of the advantages that we can work with to really help the health of our operation. The Solo program has been one that once we figured out how to use it, the last several years, it's just been something that's grown significantly for all our stores, and we're able to use that on certain items that like private label 12-pack drinks. That's become a regular program for us, and that's one of the ones that we're able to use to build sales and grow our sales base in a healthy sort of way. So it allows us to do that. Other programs such as Pangea, that's the new program that was put in place, and I was a little skeptical at first if we could implement it and be consistent with it, but it's been an outstanding program, easy to use, and something that AWG, I think, has helped put together a pricing model that makes it very, very efficient and cost effective for us to use at store level, and it's been outstanding. It's been more efficient. I think we're early in the model of using it, but I actually feel like it can help our growth because we can implement price changes more effectively when there's any kind of inflationary issues going on or just regular price changes. So we're able to manage that quicker and be more responsive at store level. So that's not only is it more efficient, it's got the opportunity to help us from a growth standpoint. Probably the other areas that are very, very good are just the general operations. I can't remember the last time we've had any kind of delivery issue whatsoever that was of any significance. And that, when you compare that against your competition here in the Alabama market, is a significant advantage, because when you compare it to your other wholesaler, there's just no comparison, because we had been with that other wholesaler, and it's a real emphasis for AWG there at the Nashville division, and logistically it means a whole lot to us, both from a payroll standpoint and operation standpoint, sales, because when you can get efficient, well-loaded, timely deliveries, it makes a huge difference. So that's been a huge advantage and a very much of a strong point for the Nashville division.
That's fantastic. Those are a lot of great examples. So how are we doing overall?
I can't think of anything that really needs to be worked on. There's no weak areas. The ad merchandise is never a problem. We don't have markouts. The perishable quality is not been an issue or not been a problem. And when there is a hiccup or an issue that we need to address with the perishable departments, they're responsive. Had one recently, and it was really not a quality issue with AWG, it was with a packer. They were responsive not only at the division level, but also at the central buying level, and they immediately got in touch with the store, which I'd asked them to do, and it was a meat department issue with regard to a packer, and couldn't ask for a better response. And that's one of the big things, is when you go to any of the personnel about a problem or an issue, the response has been outstanding. And I think that's one of the things that's really improved in the last year or two. When we come to the administration with a valid, reasonable request or something that we're looking for, the response time has really improved. It seems like there's more of an emphasis on trying to address a retailer's concern or reasonable request in a timely sort of manner, and that's been a big, big improvement in the last year plus. Since the new administration has taken over. That's one of the strong points, I'd say, right now of the Nashville division is we don't have to push anymore, and that's been a refreshing change and something we're really excited about. And that's something I've talked with other retailers about, and they echo my sentiments along those lines.
That's fantastic. Well, we appreciate your partnership and the opportunity to help you grow your sales. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Mike Daly. I'm here today with Sherry Means, proud owner of 7 stores in the Nashville area for AWG. Of those 7 stores, 3 are Cash Saver stores and 4 are conventionals. Sherry, why don't you tell us a little bit about why you converted 3 stores and what's been successful in those stores?
We converted our 3 existing HG Hills in Ashland City and in Lebanon and Hendersonville to Cash Savers, mostly because they were stores the sales were trending down and we could just losing business and wanted to see if we could increase the volume and get the sales up. And also in Hendersonville we had a price less coming in, so we wanted to be proactive. So we converted them to Cash Saver all within a year. And the stores have been really successful. We went with the AWG price zone 2% cost plus 2%, which has been a great program for us and have had great support and really have been pleased with the results.
Great. In addition to going with the Cash Saver program, you also brought VMC into your stores. You guys were formerly with SAJ. And how has that impacted your business, going to the VMC?
I think going to VMC's improved our variety, improved our pricing image because the cost was a little bit lower, and we've been able to sell a little bit cheaper. And overall, it's been a really good move for us, and it was a smooth transition with the VMC, so real pleased with that.
Now, of your 7 stores, like I said, 4 conventionals. It's been a tough road here in Nashville with the amount of competition we've had here in the area. What have you done you've done some things in your other 2, in your 4 stores to change a negative trending sales trend to a positive sales trend?
Right. In 2 of our HG Hills in Pleasant View and Portland, because of seeing how successful the Cash Saver program has been, we decided to go to a lower price zone. We lowered to a lower price zone and used some of the display pricing and bins that we use at the Cash Saver to create a better price image for our stores. And it has definitely, we have seen the trend towards sales going up in both of those locations since we made those changes. So
excellent. Now, in the Cash Savers you've pulled out the delis in 2 or 3 of those stores. What has been the benefit of having the deli in the Ashland City store?
Well, the Ashland City store already had a successful deli, so we hated to pull it out. But we're concerned about the payroll issues because that's, a deli's hard on your payroll, and we needed to get our payroll to the 8% mark or lower. However, in Ashland City, it's been very, very successful. Our hot foods, we had to do some price adjusting on, but you just sell so much more of the pre-packed stuff and the thaw and sell. So it's really been a successful deli. His sales are up even over when it was HG Hills.
And that's saying something because you take a 20% decrease in your cost, and now your sales are above that when it wasn't a conventional store. And
his sales were always good, and his distribution was good. He's been able to even increase his distribution on top of what it did as a whole. All of our Cash Saver stores have seen about a 30% increase in sales.
In the initial year, and then after the first year,
it's still trending upward.
Yeah,
we're still growing, right. We've reached the year mark for all 3 of the locations, and we're still seeing increases. So,
like to the tune of 7 to 14% in those stores.
Correct. So, I've definitely become a fan of the Cash Saver program. So, if it's worked properly, and I credit AWG for their support and their price zone and the help, in converting these stores, because we were definitely conventional, and it's a scary transition when you are reducing your gross and depending on sales to get you through. So, but I'm a believer in the program, and I hope that AWG continues to grow the program, the Cash Saver program. And I know that they're doing a really good job of bringing new prospective people in to look at our Cash Savers. We've met with several of those, and I've been really pleased and anxious to see the program grow in the area.
Great.
As well as the warehouse here, getting more customers and more more people involved is better for all of us. So.
Another big part of your success has been, quite frankly, buying everything you can from AWG and not buying out.
Right. I've always been a big believer in buying everything we can from AWG because of the patronage and the pricing, and that was one thing we had to take a hard look at over the past couple of years. And you know, we had so many other suppliers. We're strictly AWG now. Meat department, produce. We were buying some outside produce. I feel like AWG's weakest program has always been their produce, and I've seen great improvement in that, and decided to switch and start buying from AWG. I think Ty Anthony has been a big influence on that department and done a great deal to help it, along with the district managers. You yourself have been a great support to me, and when I get support, I want to support back. So we're buying everything. We're buying everything we can from AWG, buying very little elsewhere, and that allows us to buy some, also these truckload deals and these hot buys. We're getting in on a lot of these hot buys, produce, and they're great for the cash savers because, we buy them from you guys when you're trying to get, reduce the price, and then we sell them at a reduced price. It's just really helped our pricing image, especially in the produce area. And I've seen an improvement in the quality of produce, and they're working really hard, on some of the outs and problems we've had, been very supportive, and I've just been really pleased with those guys. So.
Yeah, now the solos, you've also partaken in a lot more solos this past year than you did the year before.
You have to in the cash saver, and once we got adjusted and got our cash flow adjusted to operating a cash savers, because they require you turn so much more in a cash saver. It's you have to buy the truckloads and able to get them to be able to get the best deals and sell it at the best price. So, yes. And the Pick 5 program and the cash saver, we decided to keep two with the meat department. I was doing my pricing outside of AWG. I've moved all that back to AWG now. Leonard Spray is back in the meat department and started maintaining the price zone, which has been a big benefit to me and a big help to maintain that price zone. And the Pick 5 programs have been very successful, and even in the cash savers we Pick 5 for $17.44.
Yep.
And it's just been amazing to me to watch that program grow. So we've really appreciated the support in the meat department, and having Leonard Spray back over that has really made an improvement in this division.
Well, you're showing very positive trends in all stores.
Right. We were already selling, our niche has always been our meat.
Yes, it has.
And so even with these cash savers and lowering the price zones in the hills, the meats, kept their distribution and continued to grow a little bit. So even with, selling a lot more groceries, so that's a positive trend too.
Yeah, in your center store, usually it's the perimeter of your stores that do extremely well, but the interior of your stores, the center, has really taken off in all your stores, not just the cash saver stores, due to the fact that 3 of them are cash savers, and then also you lowered price zones in the other ones. So that's been a huge plus for you guys.
It has. Yes. Overall, I've been been very pleased with our wholesaler. They've gone through some changes here, but we all kind of grow together, and I feel like they're here to support me, especially being a female owner and being involved and all. I think AWG's just been really good and really supportive, and I do appreciate their support. I feel like we're just like family. So
that's great to hear, and we really thank you for sharing this morning, Sherry. We really appreciate it.
Well,
we really appreciate you also.
Thank you.
Tom, you oversee 3 distinctive formats in your organization. How are you utilizing the various AWG programs to build your sales and profits in each format?
Well, Ken, as you know, that with each format, and I'll give you, for instance, we do a planner for each format. And what this does is lay out the different components of how we set the departments out, as far as the print piece, the bin topper displays, the quarter bin displays, the salad features and that. And we try to do a breakdown of all the categories, and look into, in the near future, to expand on our non-fresh items as well. And that will be another component added onto this. And this will apply to all 3 concepts. Okay?
So you're using it as a sales, promotional, and a merchandise.
Merchandising, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The AWG programs that you pull this information from, you sort of, I've heard you refer to as corralling this information. You're pulling it from the web blast.
The web blast, we're pulling it from the ad list, we're pulling it from the food show buys, and we also have some of the buyers out there and ourselves as well, as you know, out there looking for the opportunities. As you know, we just came back from a California trip a few weeks ago, and one of the opportunities we brought back here was the Odd Bell's green pepper. So we chose to do that in the bins. We like to do a lot of bin promotions and looking for as many bin promotions as we possibly can, especially for the price less than some of our bigger IGA market stores as well. But I think we are bringing back, I think it's this weekend, over 50 bins of the 3-pack Odd Bell green peppers. There's some other opportunities we've brought in as far as the numerous truckloads of russet potatoes we've done. We've done the, if I'm not mistaken, I think we brought in maybe 2 to 3 truckloads of the beefsteak tomatoes, the clementine, citrus, the list goes on. I think the last web blast, I think we just came back with Ken. I think we bought over 1,000 cases of the 2-pound clams on the cherries, which was an outstanding buy.
You mentioned the clementines. I believe that was about 5,000 cases, 14 pallets that you utilized.
Yes,
on
sir.
that promotion.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's done very well for us, and you know we're out there trying to source the heavy hitters. Let's put it that way. I mean, AWG has always brought to the table as far as the 3-pound clementine. We do that on promotion or on the ad list or even on the web blast. But what we continue to do, since that's such a great driver of sales for us, we'll go out and take a look at the next opportunity. Is it a 5-pound box or what other different ways that we can offer that to our customers as well? We just try to keep that ball rolling while it is in season. Yep.
Tom, thanks for your time.
You're welcome, Ken, and thanks for all your help, Ken. You've been a big asset as far as our success up here, Ken.
Great. Tom, you talked about your heavy hitters, the items that you like to promote that are seasonal. I think you call them the wow items. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit?
Yeah, wow item to me is, and I just kind of showed you the planner here, but one of the wow items I have up here, and I want to try to play with this a little bit, is try to offer, I guess it would be in week 29, a 12-pound peach, okay? I want to try to offer this to our customer. I'm going to retail it at $9.98, and what I'm going to try to do with this is bring something to our market and our markets out there, you know, that our competitors not doing, okay? So I really try to mix it up as far as, you know, I tend to see some of our competitors, even as big as Walmart, following our trend or trying to copy our pack size and our different offerings just to try to stay up. So this 12-pound peach kind of offers it offers a value to the customer, okay? And that's what I consider one of my wow items. And the reason I say wow item is, you know what, as we proceed to do a print piece, an ad or whatever, you know, as you're going through the season, you kind of hit on them same items from week to week: strawberry, corn, watermelon, blah, 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 as you go on. But you know what? If you can get that 1 or 2 wow items that when you insert that into your lineup, it kind of breaks it up. And obviously, if you're throwing the competition a curve that they can't compete with you, that, you know, it kind of gives your customer a little bit of the buzz of, hey, did you see this? Or I've never seen that before. You know, we do a lot of oddball sizing as far as 4-pound russets. I think, Ken, if I'm not mistaken, we went through 3 truckloads, or it might have even been possibly more, but just the value to the customer. It has a great retail, you know. It just kind of resonates to the customer. You know, I'm starting to play around with the bins. Once again, bin items. The 2-pound yellow onions, I kind of look at our customer as, let's face it, some of the younger generation right now don't cook like our parents and grandparents did. So, you know, I'm kind of looking at this 2-pound yellow onion. As far as I know, at our household, we end up throwing probably half of the 3-pound bag away. So once again, trying to size down that bag. Once again, trying to have a retail out there that grabs that customer's eye, and that's the kind of things I look for, and that's some of the things that I challenge you all at AWG is to help me bring to the table some of these wow items. Start looking under rocks. I'm looking out there. I'm making phone calls. You all are, and collectively we can hopefully just keep this going in the right direction. And it seems to be going there. And we still got a lot of work to do, but I think we're all on the same page.
Hi, I'm Eric Robbie. I'm a fairly new member of the AWG team. We began about a little over 2 years ago, and I'll give you a little story of where we were and where we are now. But we've had a lot of good growth with AWG. My background is that I've been in the grocery business for about 40 years, and I've been with the biggest grocery chain. I retired after 32 years there. Then I worked at a medium-sized ESOP type company with about 20 stores that ran their own warehouse and used a distributor as well. And then recently, as I said, the last couple of years, I've gone from one store that opened two years ago in August, coming up in August, and now we have 4 stores. So I've got a lot of experience. As one guy, a friend of mine, used to say, I've got 40 years of mistakes, but I've been doing this a long time. And I do have some pretty opinions about AWG and what they've meant to my growth and what they've meant to the profitability of my 4 stores. First of all, I would say that the neat thing about AWG is that it's a co-op, and there's a unique atmosphere around the other retailers that use AWG and the people at AWG that I deal with. We're all in this together. When I hear that they've picked up other stores, I'm happy about that, because I know that's more volume. I know in some way or another that's going to translate into lower cost for me. And so there's a lot of sharing, there's a lot of teamwork, and I've been very, very happy with the AWG people in that regard. From the cost of goods, when I was at the medium-sized company that I ran for 6 years, we did some pretty exhaustive studies on distributors, and I spent a lot of time analyzing most of the distributors that were in the Midwest, South, and a little bit up East, and spent a lot of time on it. And at that time, AWG far and away had the best programs and the best cost structure. And now, after that time period, costing is way more important as the market has just gotten more competitive. I can't see how, if you want to have competitive prices, how you can not afford to go with AWG. Literally, as I look around the landscape and see the companies that are thriving and growing, most of them, if they're not changed, are people that are dealing with AWG. The ones that aren't, I've seen some pullback. I've seen some of them close, and literally because I think their prices were too high and they didn't have the cost of goods that they could afford to be competitive and still make money. As far as a service standpoint, I've been, again, very happy with the service that I've gotten from AWG. The service level has been tremendous. In the 2 years, I don't think there's been an issue one time that I've called about poor service level, and that's amazing. And I can complain pretty well, and it hasn't been an issue. Secondly, on trucks being on time, very few problems, and when there is a problem, they call as soon as they know they're going to be late and let us know that for whatever reason that the truck's going to be late, and that happens very, very rarely. And when they come in, they help us. They're very positive, and that's nothing like what I've experienced with the chain store and the other distributors that I've worked with. The one thing about when I'm out in the market and seeing friends of mine that own stores that don't use AWG with some of the other distributors, and when we talk about it, it's amazing how they always say, how's AWG doing? Are they as good as what everybody says they are? And and it's kind of fun to be in that position because they know they're at a disadvantage when they're not with AWG and I am. They know our cost of goods are better. They know there's better service, and it's pretty neat that they recognize that, and they want to be there. They would love to. Most of them say, "I wish I could do that," but for whatever reasons, whether they're tied up with their current supplier or equity issues or things like that, it's a real positive to be with AWG. The reputation, and I'm up on the northern edge of their area, and still. Those that aren't with AWG are probably in some case or another are looking and understand how good they are. When I bought the store that we're in right now, it was a done deal that I was going to use AWG, and quite frankly, there are really only two concerns that I had. I knew what they were all about because I had some experience. I knew the cost of goods. I knew most of that, but the two areas that I wasn't familiar with AWG, one was the perishable departments because at prior life we used a distributor and didn't use AWG. And then secondly, since I'm on the northern edge of the business, I was a little bit concerned about some of the items that I might need that we're north of the Mason-Dixon line that I was curious how long it would take to get those items set up. So that I could have that variety that I had to have. There's some really key regional brands up here that you got to have if you're going to run a grocery store. And I'll tell you that the perishable part, I've been extremely happy, and I couldn't imagine how much. I didn't think that they would be this good, especially in produce. I was concerned about the pricing issues and just some of the quality issues, and it has been a home run from day one. The quality's been great, the people have been great. If there's an issue, if you want to add or cut, they're wonderful to work with, and if we need some help, support, they'll be here, and that's been really a home run, as I said before. Deli Bakery's been great. They've got the brands that I need to carry. The pricing is good, and same thing in meat. We buy every bit of our product in in Deli Bakery and produce in the meat department. Everything that we buy comes from AWG. We don't use anybody else for Deli Bakery. We don't use anybody else for meat, and we don't use anybody else for produce. And that's if there were some issues, I guarantee you we would be doing that. But they've been top notch since we've started. And the regional items, we probably added. I guess there probably might have been 50 or 60 items that we've requested, and everything's been set up, and there've been no issues with regard to that. In fact, as some other chains have come on, or stores have come on board, now we've even got more variety that we'd like to pick up from markets where they were located. So, I can't really, in my experience, I've helped run warehouses. I've been in a location where we had our own warehouse and we used a distributor, and now I'm all distributor. If you are going to be in this business, if you know what you're doing, if you know the business, there's really no other person to go with AWG. They're not going to hold your hand. You're not going to sit around and sing Kumbaya, but they're there if you need them. But the way they keep their costs low is that they don't babysit you. They'll be there if they need you, but for the most part, they'll help you set up the store. They'll give you all the support you need, and then if you need help, you call. But they're not going to bother you. They're not going to be pushing this or pushing that. It's pretty much we'll be there when you need us, and I love that part of it. It's a very busy. Everybody's in this business, but you don't have a lot of time to waste, and they don't waste any time. They don't waste any of my time, yet they're there if I need them, and they're quick to give you a call back, and I really appreciate that part of it. So that's pretty much the program. I could tell you that in the 4 stores, we've opened 2 when we first, one store 2 years ago, then we opened another one about 3 months after that, and then another one about a year after that, another one about 15 months after the first one. All 4 stores were making money after, I would say, after the 3rd month, and I can guarantee you that would not have happened if I didn't have AWG. Our identical stores are the 2 stores that we've anniversaried from a year ago are both up in double digits, and I think that's a testament to the fact that I felt that with our stores, I wanted to be very competitive in our pricing. I did not want, we're in 1-store towns, I didn't want any of our customers to feel like they had to drive the 15 or 20 miles to go to Walmart or go to a Kroger or go to whoever it is out there, Meijer or wherever you're at, Save-A-Lot, that they could buy everything here. So we are in the most competitive price zone. We don't have, our grosses are not, at the upper edge of gross profit rates, but I don't want that. I want to be, I want to be turning our product, I want to be competitive, and I want to be selling the whole basket, not just what's on sale. And I think that has been the reason why our identical store growth has been very positive, and why we continue to grow. So I thank AWG. I think they delivered on everything that they said, and then some. We're in this together. I love the co-op aspect. It creates a esprit de corps, a camaraderie that you don't have when you're with other distributors. I think the neat thing is that we're independent. We don't have shareholders that we refer to, that we report to, and therefore my priorities are AWG's priorities, and their priorities are mine. And it works out really well, and I hope that we can keep on growing, and I appreciate everything you guys have done. We got a great team out here, and Nashville Division's been very good for us. So thank you for the opportunity.